Hello everybody, I'm here on a suggestion. Yeah, some cool guy said, why don't you widen your tier 2 comparisons to more than just 2 weapons? And I said, well actually, that's actually a pretty cool idea. It is a really good idea. So, instead of doing 2 dumb miniguns, I'm going to compare all 4 of the miniguns. And I know, yes, I know there are 5 miniguns, I'm just saying that I'm not going to count the stock in this one. I made the mistake on my first one to count the stock, because the stock is so incredibly overpowered that it's pointless comparing anything else to the stock. The stock is amazing, and honestly, if I included the stock in this one as well, I would immediately go for the stock minigun, because it's the best all around. So, I'm excluding that from this list to make it a bit more interesting. Anyway, starting off, my first item on the list is the Natasha. The Natasha is an item that you get on an achievement, and it's pretty much the first minigun you get. If you didn't know, which I'll explain, the Natasha, it gives 100% slow to anyone who you're shooting at, or shooting more like, gives you 50% more bullets, so you actually have 300 bullets, which is pretty cool, but you have a minus 25% damage penalty, and you have a minus 30 slow up time. Now, honestly, that doesn't sound incredible, but the thing is, the most annoying class to face is a heavy. They aren't hard to face, but they're annoying, are scouts. And this is the kryptonite of scouts. Scouts cannot survive against this at all. The second you get one bullet on them, they become snails and die, and they just drop like flies. It's ridiculous how fast they die against Natasha. The main problem with the Natasha though is the 25% damage penalty. The 25% damage penalty actually leads to a few serious problems, like for example, most situations where you would kill them, you don't. But the thing with the Natasha is it's pretty much centered on shooting as much as possible, as in the more consistent you are at shooting with the minigun, like the more you hit and the less you miss, the better you'll do with the Natasha, because you'll just get consistent high damage, doesn't really matter, and you'll have more ammo to use with that, and they won't be able to dodge if you get them in the first place. The only thing is the spin up time, but the spin up time isn't that big a deal considering all the rest of them have pretty shitty spin up times as well. The damage penalty is kind of the big one, but really I recommend the Natasha when I go up against scouts, and that's kind of it. Sorry Natasha. Now the next one on the list is, this is actually in order of when I got these weapons, because like as in a long time ago when I first played this game. Anyway, the next weapon on the list is the Brass Beast. Now I actually used the Brass Beast for a very long time when I started off as heavy, before I stopped using heavy altogether, and the only reason I really did was because I enjoyed the damage bonus. That was kind of it. The damage bonus really makes a difference. If you're wondering, the 20% damage, there's a 20% damage bonus, a minus 50% slow spin up time, and a minus 60% movement speed. Now the problem with the Brass Beast, which is probably one I should have noticed a lot faster when I was first playing heavy, is that you literally are like a statue when you spin up with the Brass Beast. Like, the spin up time is a pain in the ass, and it's difficult to be ready against certain enemies, but really the big one is the slower spin up time, because when you set up your perimeters and you bring down your minigun, you are moving so slowly. Like, every class can kill you, especially demos. Demos, you're just their breakfast. They just fire out a few sticky bomb launchers and you are dead immediately. You are not going to survive against a demo, a soldier, a pyro maybe you might get away with, the scout you probably beat, and that's kind of it, you know. Scouts don't have much trouble against them, but really any classes that can take advantage of your lack of mobility will be a serious problem with the Brass Beast. But if you don't mind being basically a statue moving around doing nothing, then I recommend the Brass Beast, because the damage actually does mean something, especially against other heavies, because when the heavy, basically when you're against just normal heavies, it's basically a stop and you're waiting of which minigun can do more damage, and like, that's where the Natasha falls, but this is where the Brass Beast shines, because you can just kill any other heavy that doesn't have a medic on it, obviously, and no bother if you're the Brass Beast. The next one is actually an interesting idea, because the first two are just kind of messing around with the stats of the minigun, but the Tomislav actually does something pretty cool. The Tomislav, which is the next one I'm talking about, has a 10% faster spin up time, and is completely silent. The silent part's what really makes it cool. Of course, there's a minus 20% slower firing speed, so it's not as powerful, but I don't think the power really matters. I think what you have as heavy is the element of surprise and the element of ambushing, because holy crap, do you kill stuff with the Thomas Laugh. You'd be surprised how little the firing speed means when you already have the first few hits. Like, mostly when you're playing against a team and they don't know you're there initially, they're not going to know until they're almost dead, because the sound of the minigun isn't there and they won't know where it's coming from up until you cause well enough damage to almost kill them. For this reason, it's a very, very effective weapon. I think it's probably the most effective heavy weapon, but I will be telling my favorite one in the end. But for now, probably what I'm going to say is the Thomas Laugh is the most effective, on the fact that it's just, the silence really does mess with most classes like scouts and soldiers and demos. Most of those classes, if they don't see it coming, especially medics, it's very good for taking out medics before the heavy knows you're there. That's where it comes out very cool, and ambushing is a great thing for it as well, as if you jump out from a corner and kill them. Moving on to the last one, because I know I'm moving on pretty quickly here because there's 4 weapons to get through and I want to get this into about 7 or 8 minutes hopefully. Anyway, moving on to the last one, the Hulong Heater. Now the Hulong Heater, it's pretty good. It's basically the stock minigun, which sounds alright, but the thing is, the main difference is 6 ammo is per second is produced when you're spinning up. Now the reason for that is the Hulong Heater makes a ring of fire around you. Now that sounds kind of cool and pointless at the same time, but the biggest use by and most far for this is against spies. This is where it works, because spies are basically the heavy's worst enemy. If spies are going to be, like, if you're a spy, you're going to kill heavies first because they're the easiest target. Hulong Heater makes it a lot harder for any spy, because spies get lit on fire, and any spy using the spicicle is completely screwed, because if they try to get close, their spicicle will melt, and they have no knife whatsoever, and they'll probably try to run away or shoot you with their pistol, and you'll kill them immediately. Spies are basically the reason why this is amazing, because it works against spies, but it's basically the stock minigun. It sounds amazing, but the biggest problem with the Hulong Heater is actually how fast you run out of bullets with it. You never, ever have bullets left over after the Hulong Heater. Like, I'm always looking for ammo, especially during an uber charge from a medic. This is probably the least medic friendly gun in the game, because firstly, medics can help you against spies, and secondly, usually during uber charges and stuff like that is when you actually run out of ammo. So as a result, going into those 4 quickly, I want to talk about it and say my favorite by and most far is the Thomas Laugh. Now the Thomas Laugh is incredible. It's so, the silent killing ability makes it so much better than the other 3 options, and if the stock was involved, you know, I actually still would pick this above the stock. The Thomas Laugh is actually one of my top choices for a minigun, because it's just, if I ever do play heavy, it's incredible. Like, the spin up time doesn't even matter, because they don't even know where you are. This gun had to be nerfed on multiple occasions because it was so powerful. Anyway, there's my choice. I'll see you next time. If you like what you saw, then I'll see you next time. If you didn't like what you saw, then I won't see you next time. But if you like and subscribe, bye.